Here in the top of the second, let's talk about the Choccolocco Monsters first. Obviously, lineup is not too different. Perkins and Jones will swap places. Then Jacob Brown, the third baseman, Jacob Brown. Then Cannon Whitman, Zachary Newton, Jacob Brown, the catcher, Grayson Strobel, Xavier Wilson, Nick McCord, the pitcher, and Carson Perez are your hitting lineup there, which I'm not exactly sure why on our wonderful graphic it throws Carson's name in a little awkward place there, but just for reference, he is the extra hitter for any clarification there. So on that note, in the meantime, we'll see if I can actually fix that very quickly. Also, again, some slight bugs getting the lineup card just a little too late. It's, classic Sunbelt League, just trying to settle in on our own pace at this rate. As for Strobel and Wilson, they will be filling the right field in Strobel's case, and Wilson is at first base. So, on that note, we'll continue right back off where we started here. First pitch in from Dawson Vaughn is struck out towards left field. Will bloop right in front of the left fielder, and it will be a standing single. That was Mason Archie, who's normally quick enough to get to those, maybe normally guarantee those freebies for hitters. They can find the gap, but just like that, not fast enough for what was a perfectly placed ball. Settling in right back is Dawson Vaughn, so that'll be strike number one. Also, do forgive me for not having all of the players directly by number. This is Zachary Newton. That was Cannon Whitman who struck one out. Will not be caught by the first baseman, though. Will be poked just barely. Both runners will stay at first and second. I think third base coach maybe wanted to try and take a stab at that one there, but great hit and play from Zachary Newton. And just like that, Jacob Brown gets to come up to the plate, and you've got 2 on with no outs. Not a lot of lefties and or righties, or sorry, plenty of righties, not enough lefties in this lineup. And I would say the same for Gainesville. So as for both pitchers who are righties, you're doing a whole lot of righty on righty. Nothing too wrong with that with the way they've been pitching so far. That one will be a little too high, though, for ball one. Note about Jacob Brown as well. If my notes from my fellow Monsters casters are correct, Jacob Brown, this one, number 46, representing from Atlanta, Georgia here on this Monsters roster, pitches in and will count for strike number one. Still searching for that first out is Dawson Vaughn, and this has always been the issue for many of these bottom 4 teams in the Sunbelt Baseball League. Now, granted, Choccolocco's on the top side of that exchange. Gainesville's on the bottom, but many do struggle with these runs that teams get on, these hot bats that seem to flow through multiple batters, but that one will be stared at on the inside. We'll bring the count to 1-2, so Dawson Vaughn on the right track. Follow-up pitch, 1-2 from Vaughn. Attempted fastball, it seemed, will be briefly bobbled by the catcher, but Michael Fallon does a good job to stay with that one. Brings the count to 2-2, however. Vaughn's 2-2 pitch. Room to work. Breaking ball worked last inning. Big sweeping pitch will go outside. Brings the count to full, and a nightmare scenario for Dawson Vaughn early in this one, but still any pitch at Vaughn's disposal. Jacob Brown, last game. We'll talk about that in a second. Next pitch will be low, and it will be bases loaded with no outs. I was going to mention that Jacob Brown last game had a fairly decent showing if, again, our stats are correct, which unfortunately both Jacob Browns were marked as left fielders. So obviously one is wrong. But this Jacob Brown, I do believe, had 2 RBIs. And they're only one number apart. They're 45 and 46. So apologies. One of the many small Sunbelt Baseball League factoids to learn this season. First pitch from Vaughn will be watched in for strike 1. We've seen Gainesville get out of predicaments like this before, but again, for a team that's had so many struggles and woes this season, don't want to see Vaughn fall behind this early. That one close inside, but will be marked for ball 1. Vaughn's gotten to put that slider to work, but the only lefty in the lineup is at bat right now. Of course, that is Grayson Strobel, in case it was not already stated. Strobel will watch the next pitch. We'll take a stab at it. We'll hit it directly at the feet. Should be a surefire 2 RBIs. We'll see dashing in. Throw will not make it in time, and it will be a 2 RBI single for Grayson Strobel. And just like that, our first runs of the game find their way in. The only lefty in the lineup gives Vaughn just a few extra problems, so that brings Xavier Wilson, the first baseman, up to the plate now. Still do have Jacob Brown and Strobel on base as well. That was Cannon Whitman and Sakari Newton who rushed their way in. Big swing out of that one. Will be strike 1. Still searching for that first out as well, and Gainesville have been low on pitchers to say the least. Granted, they were able to go through 4 in the last game, including 2 of them who are new to the Gol'Diggers lineup. But in terms of your starters, Dawson Vaughn has been here the whole season, has been dependable and reliable in multiple facets this season. However, will go and throw a ball 1 there. Also, do apologize on stream if the sun is getting in the way. Unfortunately, for a 7 o'clock kickoff at this wonderful Reinhardt University Stadium, it is directly facing the sun. I feel bad for the batters, but feel bad for our camera too, trying to keep up. Vaughn's next pitch catches the bottom side of that corner, brings the count to 1-2. Vaughn still searching for the first out. Don't have to worry about a runner on third. Would like to get ahead, potentially set up for a double play ball here, but it depends on strike 3 right here, right now. That one, is it going to stay fair? It will be. It'll be placed directly behind first base. It'll be an almost impossible throw. Could be another 2 RBI play. We'll see what the run is here. Throws coming in, will be late and off. It will be another 2 RBI play, and just like that, the Monsters, scary up 4. Big hits back-to-back from Grayson Strobel and Xavier Wilson in the 7th, in the 8th spot in the lineup. And will be a pinch runner. Actually, no, sorry, will be an exchange of the equipment for Xavier Wilson after a standing 2 RBI single. And will be an immediate call to the mound for the manager as well. Speaking of managers, I can again pull some facts from our wonderful friends over on the Monsters side, led by head coach and manager Ricky Clayton, who's the head coach at Westbrook Christian, was a state champ in 2023 as an assistant coach at Etowah, and in 2024, the year that the Monsters stole the SBL championship away from the Atlanta Crackers, he was manager of the year. So when it comes to comparing teams, going bar for bar, player for player, obviously this offensive production is an obvious margin to tell you about. But on the back end, too, easily goes the way of the Monsters in their recent span. And even though, again, in a league like this, you don't get to return many players, you don't get to rely on long-term investments, at least your coaches and some of your admin staff are able to stick around and keep things going. So that'll be Xavier Wilson trotting back out to second. Still searching for out number 1 of this inning. Dawson Vaughn has been decided on to stay in the game in the meantime. Unfortunately, again, for Gainesville, low on pitchers, there's only so much that they're able to do in a situation like this. First pitch from Dawson Vaughn will be fouled off towards us. You'll see the net reverberate, which again, unfortunately, for our viewers, I wish that there wasn't a big net in the way, but also for our safety. Got to make sure there's a net protecting our wonderful camera. So please, like us, try and see through it. Dawson Vaughn will try to see this inning through in the meantime. Nick McCord, the pitcher, the one up to bat now in the 9-hole, but quick timeout to talk with third base coach. Well, third base coach will actually come talk to the umpire in the meantime. Not exactly sure what the current issue is. Can't hear too well from the box, but seems like it might have been a lineup correction based on what I'm seeing from both managers. Gainesville will show their lineup. Might have been some confusion about who's hitting in this spot. We were told that that is pitcher, again, Nick McCord, who's in this spot. Maybe Gainesville had something to say about it. Seems like we're going to have the umpires chat for just a little bit, so we'll go to a very short break and see what they say, and then we'll get right back to the action. Seems like that Nick McCord was originally on deck. So I believe that was Carson Perez who was coming up to bat, but now that it has been fixed, it will still be 0-1, but now it looks like it'll be Nick McCord coming into pitch now. So after that shake up, Dawson Vaughn gets a mini timeout. Next pitch is off the bat, but won't stay fair. Won't be met fair either. Runner will still remain on second. I believe ran out that pitch was Xavier Wilson. Brings the count to 0-2 now. Again, Dawson Vaughn still searching for this first out of the inning. Only in the top of the second in a 9-inning game on a 7 p.m. start. We got a long way to go as well. And I know Gainesville's coaching staff would love to see Vaughn go the distance. Next pitch will catch McCord swinging, and it will be another big Vaughn strikeout. We'll also keep Xavier Wilson at second with an out on the plate now. So I believe now, without any confusion, this should be Carson Perez, who's now up to the plate. So now Vaughn, after getting that early 0-1 count on Perez, will get another stab at it. First pitch. We'll do it all over again. We'll go 0-1. Again, looking back at the lineup, once Perez is out of this spot, we will return to the top of the lineup with Reese Jones, followed by Berkeley Perkins. And again, getting into the heat of that lineup. But with so much production coming out of your 7 and 8 spots with Strobel and Wilson, you'll take it if you're the Monsters. However, you don't like back-to-back 0-2 counts, which is what Dawson Vaughn has battled for and fought for to try and find out number 2 here. Vaughn's 0-2 pitch. Down to Perez. Inside and low. Not close enough to a corner. Will hit the turf. Brings it to 1-2. And yes, in case you couldn't see on broadcast, the bottom side of the diamond is turf. Everything else is obviously grass and dirt. A little interesting to see on a collegiate field. Very thankful to Reinhardt University and their program for allowing us to use the space this season. It's been a beautiful, beautiful facility. The weather is always great up here, and the staff have been killer thus far as we'll watch the count go to 2-2. Still looking down the barrel here for action at the bottom of the lineup. Carson Perez, after being forced to come off, will take a stab at that one, but it will go directly into the foot. I believe might have hit the thigh first. So we'll keep the count at 2-2, and we'll keep Perez at the plate as well. 2-2. Vaughn needs to get this one right here before the top of the lineup. Also to keep Gainesville in the game. That one is struck out towards left field, but should be tracked down by the left fielder, who will call it on. Tag up was almost attempted, but will be immediately thwarted after a throw from Mason Archie. Brings us to 2 outs now, and a great tracking play from Archie and a great follow-up throw to the cutoff man. I'll keep Xavier Wilson at bay as we go back to the top of the lineup. It'll be Reese Jones. As for Reese Jones, from Birmingham, Alabama, also committed to play at UAB. So big action and big hopes and to get to play D1 ball. Big congratulations to Reese Jones, getting to stay in the hometown too, and takes a strike out of that one. Brings the count to 0-1. About Jones as well, is the only, I believe, D1 baseball player in the lineup. Do have a few players who have jumped around from D1 and D2 and around to a few community colleges. Melvin Blocker, who's on this lineup, who's not playing today, was at Wichita State University, now playing at McLennan Community College. It's, a few players like that across the Sun Belt League that still bring so much pressure when they get to the plate. Count moves to 1-1. Vaughn has battled back well and has really strung together a nice series of pitches here after the awkward switch up in the 9 and 10 spot between McCord and Perez and the lineups. But now that's settled, Vaughn I was going to say settling in, but that will hit Reese Jones, who will shoulder that off and will move on to first. Resets the count, brings up Berkeley Perkins to the plate now. As for Berkeley Perkins, one of the more dependable and experienced players on this roster, also is a dual athlete, plays football at Bowdoin High School, won a state championship there, and graduated this year. So a lot of hopes coming from Heflin, Alabama, from Berkeley Perkins. Pitch outside will be a pass ball, will advance the runners jogging, and it goes from first and second to second and third, and ball one. And again, of all the bats and of all the places you want to be, you do not want to sit here at the 2-hole facing Berkeley Perkins, who had a wonderful game on Monday. Went 2 for 3, 2 bases on balls. No RBIs, but did contribute a run in that game. Next pitch. Outside and down, will count for strike one. Still a wonderful top inning put together early in the game for the Monsters, but you would love to keep the rally going, especially looking down another potential 2 RBI hit at the hands of Berkeley Perkins. Follow-up for Dawson Vaughn. 1-1 count. Pitch is a breaking ball. Will find its way into the zone for 1-2. Glimpses of control and glimpses of greatness from Dawson Vaughn. Just really a few bad walks, few bad hits here and there allowed, and all of a sudden you find yourself down 4-0. It's been the story of the Gol'Diggers season. But again, you see glimpses. Vaughn will try to find another strikeout in the tally. That one is struck over towards first base, but just barely finds its way out. Keeps the count at 1-2. see what Dawson Vaughn has next in the tank. Breaking ball or outside high slider has gotten a few pitches here. That one, a breaking ball, will find its way over towards the third baseman, who actually won't be able to field it. It'll make it all the way back to the shortstop. And it will be an RBI unchallenged single. Forgive me, I was a little surprised that it made its way through, but was just fast enough to find its way through Ryan Morris. Or excuse me, got past Chris Randolph, I believe was fielded by Ryan Morris, but regardless, got so far back towards the grass that leaves a player there. So, the runner's stranded. Michael Fallon will signal to Vaughn, and they'll try to get back on track here as Jacob Brown, the third baseman, comes up to the plate. Again, if my friends on the Monsters side are correct, Jacob Brown represents Ann Arbor, Michigan, all the way down here in Waleska, Georgia. Pitch will be struck over towards third base. Is going to be over the head. Will bring in a jogging RBI. Throw will be down to third as the tag made in time. No slide is needed. And even though that's off camera, I hope that painted a picture enough because it's 6-0. So just when Dawson Vaughn had a 1-2 count and 2 outs, 2 batters ago, you blink and you missed it, and it's 6-0 just like that. So it brings up Cannon Whitman here in the 4 spot on the plate now, but it will be, I believe, a timeout called on the Gainesville side, talking to the umpire. In the meantime, we can at least show you the entire field, which again is beautiful out here in Waleska, Georgia. Again, unfortunately, the sun is in our faces, but we are doing everything we can. Hopefully, the sun will set soon. With the way this game is going, maybe it'll set by the 4th or the 5th inning. Also, I do want to clarify, as we see a pitching change here, I do believe, but that ball over past third baseman Chris Randolph, that was both hits found their way past Chris Randolph. Not an error, but just hit too fast, and the second one was hit too high. Not able to be played, so I want to make sure I clarify that. So just like that, Gainesville will make a quick pitching change, and we will be right back after we figure out who this pitcher is. Coming back to you live from Reinhardt University, we are still on top of the second on a 6-run rout that the Monsters have got themselves in. This could be out number 3 right here. However, instead, it'll be a throw that's too awkward to get back to home plate. It's a risky maneuver from Michael Fallon to throw that down, and tried to end the inning there, but the throw was slightly off. Communication seemed to be off as well, and so runner will get on second, and it will be now 7 runs in the top of the second. As for who is pitching at the moment, it is Baylor Holmesley, which is another new face on this Gainesville roster, so forgive me for not having the information immediately. Baylor Holmesley, like many Gainesville players, represent Cumming, Georgia. The righty came from Southern Union State Community College and is now playing for Tennessee Wesleyan University. As for Holmesley, not many spots you'd like to be in, especially regarding what you're in right now. I mean, this is probably not your dream Wednesday afternoon, and especially with a outside pitch there. Count will move to what I believe is 1-0. Sorry, 2-0. As the umpire will clearly correct me. Again, I do apologize for the sun. There's only so much we can do to try and block it. It's a little hard to see the action as well. That one absolutely ripped out in front of left fielder. Could be another potential RBI. Throws coming in. Is going to be on a line. It gets to Michael Fallon, who will make the tag in time. Will be out. Number 3. And another wonderful play from Mason Archie. Absolutely stuns what could have been another RBI hit out towards the outfield, but at what cost, you may ask? It's 7 runs from the Monsters, who have put together one of the best tops of the innings I think I've seen all season. So we still got a long game to go as we get to the bottom of the second and a 9-inning showcase between the Monsters and the Gol'Diggers. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Gainesville Gol'Diggers versus the Chocolocco Monsters here at Reinhardt University in beautiful Waleska, Georgia. However, sun is still just a little bit in our face, so hopefully it looks a little bit better now after some tweaking between the innings, or at least between the middle of the inning. Still the bottom of the second, it's already 7-0 for Chocolocco. This one, boom shakalaka off the foul ball there. Got to get my pun in where I can. Brings the count to 0-1. Currently at the plate, this is Noah Darden, recognizable by that blue helmet. Darden as well, one of the most exciting members of this roster, represents Denmark High School, another Cumming, Georgia player, and had quite the run over at Denmark as well. Or sorry, excuse me, I'm getting Noah Darden confused with Jason Williams. Noah Darden played at West Forsyth High School, now represents the University of West Georgia, absolutely striped between center and left field. Will settle down and will be a stand-up single for Noah Darden. Great crack at the bat there to give Gainesville a little bit of hope early on in the second. We've talked about this all season as well. Gainesville is an absurdly quick team. You just got to get the runners in scoring positions. And even at that point, they have struggled occasionally to get in a few extra runners. We've talked about it many times here on the broadcast as well. However, they'll try and keep things moving in the right direction. Still no outs. They'll bring Dallas Stevens up to the plate now. We'll watch that one catch the outside for strike number one. Also, in case for any of you who have been watching this team all season, you will notice that that is a number 4 jersey, which I believe is actually Chase Graham. So I do apologize there. Actually, no, I double apologize. It is Dallas Stevens. Again, making sure that my notes are correct, but unfortunately for Dallas, that'll be strike 1, 2, 3. Caught swinging for out number 1. Again, it's been a long season dealing with some changes in the administrative side on the Gol'Diggers end, and still dealing with some extra changes as well in players. These starting lineups have seen a change and a new player almost every week. And I really appreciate the wonderful Sunbelt Baseball League broadcasting crew as I've been gone the last few weeks, who were able to hop in and provide a wonderful show. However, Evan Warren will try to keep the show going here. But as the sun starts to set, still makes it a little hard for the batters to see. As you can see, that sunlight is not only in our eyes, but is still on the right side and really covering the entire plate. Ball one, however, was a great start. Now it brings the count to 1-1 after a good strike. Ball was a little high. Evan Warren's a little under it. Evan Warren, though, does produce a lot of power at the plate, has done so all season. Evan Warren as well, as of late, I believe still uncommitted, representing Monroe, Georgia, North Oconee High School to be specific. Next pitch will be struck between first and second. Will actually find its way through. Second baseman, 360, will find its way to first in time, and Evan Warren can't beat it out, but will at least advance the runner. But what a spinning play out there at second base. That was Berkeley Perkins with that one there. So even though the runner does move, it's a great defensive trade as you get to 2 outs. As we go to another new player, this is third baseman Chris Randolph, probably some of the best hair we've seen on the team all season. I'll try to bring that power into the bat. A little check swing. Wasn't caught going, though, so will be counted for ball number 1. Still on the mound is Nick McCord. Strike 1 will come in. Haven't got to talk too much about Nick McCord because Nick McCord's been silently grinding and hitting his spots and hitting his marks. And also, when your offense scores 7 runs in the top of the second, it makes the pitching job just slightly easier. Next pitch, inside, strike 2. Just when Gainesville gets a sliver of hope and Noah Darden at second, who is a very fast player. Just got to strike 1 out between the gap and you probably get him in. But just as I say that, 2 outs, 2 strikes. McCord to end the hopes in the second inning will be stabbed at and miss. So just like that, another McCord masterclass will bring the Monsters through 2, up 7-0, and will return with the top of the third. So we pick back up in the top of the third here. Monsters still remain up 7-0 after that beautiful top of the second stretch. On the mound is Baylor Holmesley, who now gets a full top of the inning to himself, and will start it off with a strike one. Still a long way to go for Gainesville, but do not count them out. We've seen crazier things this season. Next pitch will find its way outside of the zone for ball one. At the plate here for the Monsters is Zachary Newton. Will also strike that one out towards center field. Will be easily reined in for out number one. Play is made by Jock Walker, who's gotten to watch Mason Archie steal all the fun all game. Good start for Holmesley, who can't complain after having to come into what was a pretty tough spot. But again, with a full inning to himself, really anything that can happen now. But again, Gainesville's got to get those bats running. However, if Holmesley will keep doing what Holmesley's showing us, still do believe that anything is possible. Ball swung at to be strike one. Brings the count to, should be 0-2 now. It's exactly what our umpire confirms. See what the next pitch is here from Holmesley, who got on a tear quickly through that first batter, looking to catch him swinging. However, it's swinging for the fences. Jacob Brown out. Will be right behind the shortstop, and a three-man triangle couldn't get there in time. And unfortunately for Gainesville, they got to watch that one land right in front of Ryan Morris and between Mason Archie and Jock Walker as well. Again, a lot of speed, but hasn't been able to be put to use. And just like that, you get a runner on first. It's a great hit from Jacob Brown. Brings Grayson Strobel back up now after a 2 RBI hit earlier in this one. We'll watch strike one go in the meantime. Still only one out on. Next pitch will be outside. Find its way into ball one. Follow-up pitch for Holmesley. Turning away will be the Monsters to what is now a 2-1 count. Again, this is Grayson Strobel on the, or it's not on the mound at the plate currently. Again, still trying to make sure we get all the names right. So many roster changes for both these teams. That one is once again hit at the pitcher. Could it be a double play ball? It will be attempted, and it will be converted just like that. At shortstop Ryan Morris, which after the awkward balls in the second and the first that hit their way over to the left side, he turns that one into a double play, and that will end the inning and will keep the Monsters scoreless. So just like that, we breeze through the top of the third as the sun slowly begins to dip behind those trees here in beautiful Reinhardt University. We'll be back with the bottom of the third in just a bit. First pitch of the bottom of the third is struck over to third base. Actually will find its way back behind third base. And so just like that, one pitch down and an immediate batter on first. That right there. Again, trying to double check and make sure that all of our notes are right before I clarify. Should have been Dawson Vaughn, I believe, who just made his way over. First pitch in the second count. Start off with ball one. Next ball will find its way back towards us for a foul. Also do want to clarify that with Dawson Vaughn being subbed out, I actually do believe that was Baylor Holmesley who got on base over there, who should have taken their place. Next pitch in towards the bottom side of the lineup. We are here with Chase Graham at the 10 spot. Also can clarify that was Baylor Holmesley with a very quick strike past third base. Next hit also finds its way towards third base, but it will be foul, barely. Bringing the count to what I believe is now 2-2. So we will get right back at it here, 2-2. On the mound for the Monsters is still Nick McCord, who's having a decent game thus far. However, you do not want to start off the bottom of the third with potentially 2 runners on. Don't want to open the door to a run, especially in this league. Chase Graham, however, again, one of the new members who currently plays at Clark Atlanta University. Won't take a stab at that one. It will catch the top of the zone for the first strikeout and the first out of the bottom of the third. Chase Graham, again, representing Clark University. A 5'7" frame. It's hard to paint the corner there, but great pitch from McCord. Now returns us all the way back up to the top of the lineup for Jock Walker. Walker represents Gadsden State Community College. Again, one of the more dependable bats. And for reasons like that, that one will land exactly between left field and center, and it will advance the runner. Should be a standing double and will be exactly that for Jock Walker. The leadoff man gives Gainesville 2 on. Again, for those of you watching, I do apologize that with the sun, the brightness has gotten very, very hard to keep tabs on things. We will continue to try and work on it, but please do give us a moment. That should shed a little bit more light on the camera feed for now. It's not going to look too pretty, but when it comes down to that and or getting to watch the game, I think that'll work for all of us. So now at that note, quick little visit for Nick McCord, who could still go through 3 innings quite flawlessly, but again, with runners on second and third and still waiting on that that second out to come through. And no more double play position as well. You don't love it. So after the quick meeting, it'll bring Ryan Morris up to bat now. First pitch. Find its way outside for ball 1. Again, in the Sun Belt Baseball League, we've seen runs upon runs from so many teams in tops and bottoms of innings. There is nothing stopping Gainesville from doing that, but Unfortunately, as their record suggests, they are the team that struggled the most with those conversions. Again, 2-17 this season, are kind of stuck, really landlocked at the bottom of the league, but do still have 4 more games after this where they are going to be the home team, though they will be playing in different ballparks. That one will not get past the catcher, will be corralled, and will be 2-1, even though it was a good stop from Jacob Brown. Two-one for Ryan Morris. Again, one of the new faces of this roster. Ryan Morris represents Johns Hopkins University, a rising sophomore. Big strike out of that one. Will find its way towards the shortstop, who's able to corral it. Wants to get the out at first. Will do so, but not before Gainesville will at least take a run for their troubles. So in World Cup fashion, we get a Brazil here in the 3rd inning, 7-1 in favor of the Monsters. And for Ryan Morris, represented Johns Hopkins well, getting a sacrifice RBI there. And so that brings Mason Archie hitting in the 3 spot. Check swing is going to be called going for strike 1. Do still have a runner at 3rd to play off of, and a lot of speed again on this team that's gotten to be put to use. Quick little tie of the shoe in the meantime. I'll settle Archie back up. Next pitch from McCord. Flies in. Is going to be low. Will be ball 1. McCord is up to 36 pitches now. Yeah, 36 pitches now, all the way through 3. Well, at least, hopefully, we'll stay under 40 to get through 3 if you are the Monsters manager, and you could do it. Big swing for Mason Archie, brings it to 1-2. Still a long way to go for Gainesville, but you'll take chunks. Especially as the lights come on here at Reinhardt University as the sun starts to set. Next pitch in from McCord will indeed set the sun on the Gainesville bottom of the inning, and Mason Archie is stuck wondering what to do, and all you can do is watch out number 3, and just like that, you'll take 1 for your troubles if you're Gainesville, but still got a 6-run gap to try and finesse. We'll come back from the top of the 4th here at Reinhardt. Well, for us Gainesville-sided fans, there is good news for the rest of this game. And now that the sun has found its way behind the trees, now we actually get to broadcast the game in its full glory. And to try and keep that glory going, to keep the hot streak moving, will be Xavier Wilson, the first baseman here. First pitch is in from Holmesley, and who again has found a little bit of a run. I mean, so far so good for Holmesley, already over an inning pitched, and so far has kept it down to 13 pitches in that inning, and even the .1 before that to get out of the second. Already moves to 0-2. Definitely keeps you wondering on the Gainesville end what kept Holmesley from coming into the season earlier with this type of performance against a decent team who sits fifth in the standings. And the Monsters' outside ball was baiting a swing, but will be very smartly left away by Xavier Wilson. Once again, we are in what has been a surprising upset power format of this Monsters lineup. Wilson and Strobel combined. It's a 7 and 8 hole to actually get that 7-run swing going. That was 4 runs in the double RBI swings that they both got. One getting a single with 2 RBIs and one getting a double with 2 RBIs. And just trying to replicate that. Strobel was not able to do it, but Wilson's got plenty of power. However, a great eye will all of a sudden turn what was an 0-2 count into a 3-2 count. We'll see. Next pitch in will be inside and will be too far inside, as it will not catch the zone and it will move Wilson over to first. Wilson, a upcoming freshman representing Johns Creek, Georgia. Also a switch hitter as well, one of the only ones on the team. So now, no confusion this time around as we make our way down to the 9th spot. This is Nick McCord, the pitcher, who should be feeling the burn a little bit after 3 innings, only allowing 1 run and still taking a huge chunk out of the air for strike 1. Air starting to cool here at 8 p.m. Eastern time with that sun gone. The lights have now come on here at Reinhardt University's field as well. Really setting the scene for a beautiful game of baseball, and Holmesley trying to paint a picture to match that, but in the meantime, can't paint the outside of the zone, brings the count to 1-1. Nick McCord facing a breaking ball, or what seemed to be at least an attempted late slider. Either way, too slow and too far, brings the count to 2-1 now. Holmesley rearing back for the 4th pitch. Will be swung at down the 3rd base line and will be fielded. Will have to be absolutely thrown, and it's not there in time. How about the speed from the pitcher as Nick McCord beats out the throw? Was a decent field from Chris Randolph, but only so much you can do when your pitcher's got wheels. So just like that, we get down to Carson Perez in the 10 spot in the lineup, and it's a familiar setting once again. We get to the bottom of the lineup, still searching for an out, and the top of the lineup rearing to get going. Last time this happened, Reese Jones walked to first and almost loaded the bases. However, great first pitch will keep Holmesley involved. On Monday night, Gainesville had to go through 4 pitchers, and I do worry a little bit as to how deep the bag does go. This team has always been shallow on the pitching side, so you really need Holmesley to go the distance here, and will bring it to another 0-2 count. Once again, bottom of the lineup, Carson Perez looking to get first hit of the game. It will be a little bit of a skill check over towards Nick McCord. Or sorry, Xavier Wilson, who's on second base. However, no throw, no rush. We'll focus right back down on the batter. Perez facing an 0-2 pitch. Will it be an outside bait here from Holmesley? It was attempted to be low and outside. However, it'll be actually an attempted pick. It has to make its way over, but it will be mind games played from the Monsters. This will be another runner coming into home, and we'll get there scot-free. Mind games from Xavier Wilson will give the Monsters their 8th run in what was the error of all errors there for multiple players for Gainesville. Right idea, but late execution. Michael Fallon rears it down over towards Ryan Morris, but Xavier Brown Xavier Wilson, had already gotten up and running. Throw got home way too late, which then allows for Nick McCord to get on second. Still no outs and I don't want to say miserable, but a very awkward play there. That one is striped out towards right field, but will fade foul over towards the clubhouse, or at least one of the many buildings. Not that familiar with the Reinhardt field yet. We'll bring the count to 0-1. Once again, we are at the top of the lineup. Or actually, no, excuse me. Throw went down, so this is still Carson Perez, number 41. So we'll bring it to 0-2. So here we go again, 0-2 count. Holmesley looking to get out of it here. Also a 2-2 count. I do want to clarify that one is absolutely struck out towards left field and over the fence. It is out of here. And at the bottom of the lineup, Carson Perez will shoot the Monsters back on top like they weren't on top enough. Brings it to 10-1 for the Monsters after an absolute 2-run bomb from Carson Perez. Well, how about that to get you out of your seats in what's a blowout game thus far? I mean, Chocolocco has got to be feeling it. These bats have been hot as ever. I mean, again, last game they scored 8 runs, but they allowed 7. This time around, we're only in the 4th, and they've had a 7-run inning, now a 3-run inning with that there. Ball 1 here to start for Holmesley, who will not be met with by the managing. Will not be pulled aside at all by the catcher. We'll just keep on going now with the bases cleared. Next pitch. Slow, but doesn't drop enough. 2-0 count. Still searching for the first out. It has just been the bad news Bears all over again, week in and week out for Gainesville. Next pitch is in. Check swing will be half attempted, and because of that, ball will find its way in, uncontested, for strike 1. 2-1 count now is confirmed by the umpire. I will also say this. I wish I got the umpire's name. He's had a great game so far and has had a great eye for the zone. Hasn't really missed a call yet. However, missing the zone will be Holmesley, which now brings it to 3-1. Bearing down for another pitch. That one is strike 1. Reese Jones got walking a little bit there, but just a little ahead of himself. Full count now. Holmesley still looking for the first out again of the top of the 4th after allowing a 2-run bomb. Staying in the count, staying in the zone will be Reese Jones. As we sit on this full count, just a little bit again about Reese Jones. Committed to play at UAB, one of the most powerful bats in the lineup. But as I say that, I mean, we just witnessed a 2-run bomb from the bottom end from Carson Perez. So maybe all the bats got it like that. As I say that, there's that power demonstrated down the line. It will be fair, and it's actually going to be Reese Jones bearing down for second, is barreling, and is there by a country mile, picking up the pace going down the first base line. Standing double from the UAB star on this roster. Chocolocco still no outs and a runner on second. Brings it to 10-1, and now Gainesville will finally call a timeout. We'll have to see how deep in the bag the pitching side will get. It does seem that it will be a pitching change. We'll have to see who the decision or what the decision is. And that's Baylor Holmesley, who's got to step out now. But a decent showing through that first inning and even the second inning, which is the second and the third overall. Got out of that 6-inning run, only allowed one extra in the meantime, and then pitched a very decent third inning. But unfortunately, that 2-run bomb and a perfectly placed down the first base line double. Now in the second spot in the lineup as well. We're talking about Berkeley Perkins coming back up after finding an RBI earlier. We'll now bring in a new pitcher. So as that pitcher gets warmed up and as we figure out who that is to be for sure, we'll go to a very short break and we'll be right back. New pitcher in the game warming up will be another new addition as of late to the Gainesville roster. This is Ben Hoffman. Once again, it's another righty for Gainesville who've not been able to get a lefty involved in the game yet. Representing Hillgrove High School out of Marietta, Georgia, the Southern Union State Community College player. Will try to keep Gainesville at bay from potentially being mercy ruled. I believe the rule is 10 runs through 5, but still a long time before we get to there. And we'll talk a little bit more about Ben Hoffman in the meantime. I am still trying to pull up some stats, but unfortunately the Alabama Community College Conference website is broken, so I cannot pull up stats on Ben Hoffman. But you at least know Ben Hoffman, I believe, based on my math, will be a rising junior this year. And you come into a situation where you got a runner on second and you're at the second spot in the lineup. Ball one will be the first pitch. Still searching for the first out of this game as well. Berkeley Perkins found an RBI earlier in this one. Second baseman will look at another pitch coming down the way. This one will be high and will immediately be turned away from. The count goes to 2-0. Got to give Chocolocco some credit. Their eye has been absolutely dialed this game. They have been hyper-focused on the ball, and they have seemingly placed it between every living gap in the outfield possible. They try to do that again as that one is flying out towards right field. Should be fielded easily. Will be a for sure tag up and will be a standing runner over to third. It will be a sac fly to move the runner to third, and it also will only be the first out. So not worried too much if you're Chocolocco, as again, you try to move to a mercy rule scenario, which you got to be up 10 through 5 to do so. So as Perkins flies out, we get to the third spot in the lineup with Jacob Brown, who also found an RBI earlier in this game. Brown playing at the College of Charleston, deciding to stay down here in the South for more baseball action instead of going back up to Ann Arbor, Michigan. I will say this, as someone who's been casting the Gainesville end all season, Ann Arbor, Michigan is the farthest I've seen a player travel here in the Sun Belt Baseball League. So huge, huge shout out, especially to potentially the family watching of Jacob Brown as well, who's off to a pretty good start and also had a decent game as well. Got 2 RBIs off only a hit on Monday night's game. In the meantime, sitting on a 2-0 count with a 9-run lead, trying to get to that mercy spot. That one is absolutely ripped over towards left field, but it will drop. Shallow miscommunication between the shortstop and the left fielder. Throws coming in, but it will be high and will keep the runner moving towards second, standing, jogging. And just like that, Jacob Brown gets away with what I would argue is murder in a game like this. That I think the definition of murder is a blurred line. We're at 11-1 now. It's beautiful heads-up base running, I will say, as well, from Reese Jones, who not only tapped one in down the first base line and was blazing down said line, but also takes even a small gap to get from third to home. And a tough throw to make for Mason Archie, who had a beautiful throw out earlier in this game, but can't find the follow-up opportunity here in the fourth. So runner will remain on second. Again, that was a double from Jacob Brown. It brings up Cannon Whitman. That ball, quick but outside. As we keep getting swings, and not just swings, obviously, as a pun on the baseball diamond, but I'm talking about swings as a team. A 7-run, really domination in the top of the second, and then here we are, staring down a 2-0 count with only one out in the top of the fourth, and it's a 4-run swing. Still in the bulk of the lineup as well. I mean, Cannon Whitman hitting in the 4 spot. A long way to go for Gainesville, who brought in their third pitcher of the game in Ben Hoffman. Pitches in. Will be low, though, as it goes to 3-0. I thought for sure that was going to catch the zone, but does not. Hoffman trying to stay alive and keep Gainesville alive overall. Next pitch barrels down, and it will be outside. 2 balls that were close, but no cigar. It'll be a 4-0 count. And just like that, we get runners on first and second as Zachary Newton will come up to the plate now, searching for what seems to be a commodity across the Monsters lineup. An RBI has not found one yet in this game. Standing at 1-2. Got involved on base just a little too late after the runners had cleared from the bottom side of the lineup, doing so well. First pitch is in, will be swung at, but will end up as strike 1. Still 1 out as well. Double play ball is very much a possibility here, so you got to be careful swinging at those high balls, especially for Xavier Wilson specifically. The freshman stands at 6'1", so a decent frame, but Hoffman decently sized as well, but however, struggling to place this ball. To be specific, Hoffman is 5'11", so coming down the mound does make it a little easier to place on a 6'1" frame, and a little bit of a shimmy as well for Zachary Newton. See if he can swing those hips into the right spot. Next pitch is down, swung at, will be a foul ball. So we get to a 1-2 count. Man, the productivity out of this Monsters roster, we're talking about 8 runs Monday night, 8 hits Monday night, 13 hits through 4 here on Wednesday night. Unbelievable here at Reinhardt what this roster's put together. They don't want the run to end here. They could go to 2 outs right here. Hoffman with a ball that just finds its way sliding past the bat will bring the second out at the cost of Zachary Newton. So we get Jacob Brown, number 2, the catcher, representing Atlanta, Georgia. And forgive me for not catching this earlier as well. Jacob Brown also is committed to play at UAB alongside Reese Jones. So makes a little bit more sense why Jacob Brown found a huge 2 RBI hit earlier. Big breaking ball will stay high. Count starts at 1-0. Hoffman has found a strikeout. just now. Could get on a tear, could get hot. Doesn't worry about the runner at second and doesn't need to. Catches Brown swinging. In the meantime, next pitch delivery from Hoffman. Down on to Brown. Swung at, will be put in play. Will move a runner over to third. Is it going to be hit to second? Will not be. And will he beat out the throw? No, he'll be out. So Gainesville, even though you allow a few extra runs and an absolute nuke from Carson Perez, you still do have a chance to stay in this game. We'll go to the bottom of the fourth as Gainesville tries to dig themselves out of their own hole. Back at it in the bottom of the fourth. Gainesville look to avoid mercy rule. However, there is still an adamant and a determined Nick McCord who could very well pitch the entirety of this game if the mercy rule does apply once the fifth wraps up. Gainesville, however, will get two chances to stop that. However, it only hurts when you watch two strikes find their way into the zone. And on that note, where are we in the Gainesville lineup, you might ask? That is Michael Fallon sitting at the 4 spot in the Gainesville lineup. So could look to get a few runners on base here. That ball will be watched outside by Fallon, however. But you've got to continue to give McCord credit. Not to mention McCord as well, getting a single in the last inning. That one was almost check swung at, but Fallon will hold up in time. Two-two count now where it stands. McCord's pitch in. Will be outside, at least Fallon thought so, but the umpire will call it in. And just like that, Fallon, obviously, much to his chagrin, that is going to be out number 1 and will keep things moving in the right direction for the Monsters. So, coming up next, will be Noah Darden, one of the more consistent, one of the more dependable players in this Gainesville roster. The only returning Gainesville Gold Digger from last season will watch strike one catch the outside of the zone, and McCord's got a real sweet spot out there. So far through this game, McCord, 6 strikeouts, 45 pitches. That one, foul ball will fade away over towards first. Not going to be able to be tracked down by Xavier Wilson. But McCord, I mean, again, we're talking about almost 4 innings pitched and sitting at 6 strikeouts, only allowing the 1 run. One of the better performances that we've seen on this stream, to say the least. McCord will look to keep things moving here. That one will be struck over between the shortstop and the left fielder. However, communication is different on the Monsters' end. Gainesville let that one down, but the Monsters will not. Brings it to 2 outs just like that. And McCord sits at only 45 pitches. I say only, but through 47 pitches actually with those 2, excuse me. You'll take it. Moving down the lineup, we get to Dallas Stevens in the 6th spot here, the right fielder. Again, one of the newer additions to this roster. Dallas Stevens represents Young Harris College, like a few teammates on this roster, representing Jefferson, Georgia. We'll swing at that one. Can the shortstop get there in time? On the pop, 360, back towards first base. However, first baseman Xavier Wilson has to jump, but a good attempt by Reese Jones, showing that D1 arm strength. However, a little bit of pizzazz on the throw will delay it just enough, and will bring a runner on first. Way to put it in play from Dallas Stevens. I think Gainesville will take anything they can right now. And of all the batters in the bottom end of your lineup, Evan Warren is who you'd want in this situation. A lot of power behind this bat here. What can the lefty provide? Outside zone will be caught once again. Count will start 0-1. McCord approaching 50 pitches, but might not get too far over it if he just gets Evan Warren out right here, right now. Count goes to 0-2 within the snap of a finger. At the flick of the wrist, McCord could end the inning here, or end the top side of the inning. However, we'll step off after time is called. Warren will now step back. I think trying to throw McCord off the rhythm, but McCord, I mean, so far into this game, we're talking about the 4th inning here, doesn't look like they'll be knocked off. That one will catch Warren swinging early, and just like that, it's the 7th strikeout through 4 for Nick McCord, and we'll head to the bottom of the 4th. Gainesville still, top of the 5th now, excuse me. Gainesville still searching for answers. We'll be right back. And welcome back to what could very quickly turn into do or die for the Gol'Diggers. Ben Hoffman will remain on the mound as Choccolocco looks to get out of here early tonight. The lights had only just come on here at the wonderful Reinhardt University, who are so thankful for hosting the showcase between these two teams. I say showcase, but it's the end of the regular season. It's do or die for playoff placement. And Ben Hoffman still trying to find placement at the edge of the zone there. Again, this is the third pitcher that we've seen Gainesville have to pull out, whereas on the Choccolocco side, Nick McCord has rolled through 4 innings and could potentially roll through 5. That one turned away up towards the head. That is Grayson Strobel as well, the right fielder, who had a 2 RBI double on that 7-run stretch in the second inning. Looking to find a little bit more. We'll take a stab at that one, and it's down the first base line, but will find its way out. So count moves to 2-1. Will keep Ben Hoffman involved. Once again, we're in a familiar setting where monsters get to start, or the monsters, excuse me, get to start an inning from the bottom of their lineup and normally find a hit or two, and then they return to the top, and you let Reese Jones and Berkeley Perkins and Jacob Brown get a hand on things, and gets out of hand pretty quickly. So Ben Hoffman, knowing that after watching the game thus far, will try to avoid that. We could use this strikeout here. However, count will move to 3-1 instead of 2-2. Strobel, third at bat of the game. Facing it down will be high and will be 4-1. That will be ball 4, as we'll watch a runner move to first. This is the exact carbon copy scenario that I'm referring to. They get exactly who they want to hit at the exact right time, as Xavier Wilson will return to bat now. However, before we get there, timeout, and actually does seem to be another pitching substitution. Ben Hoffman will go out after a 1-inning stretch with a strikeout, 17 pitches, but unfortunately for Hoffman, I'm a little confused as to the pitching change here, but I guess we will have an answer once we figure out who is coming in. Can't see the Gainesville bullpen from the box here, so it'll be a surprise for all of us. Trying to catch who that is. Looks to be another newer face from this Gainesville end. So we're going to go to another very short break. We'll try and figure out who that is, and it'll be the pitcher trying to keep Gainesville away from a potential mercy rule here in the 5th. So we'll be right back after we figure out the pitcher and let him get warmed up. Top of the 5th here at Reinhardt University. That is Johan Silverio, the 6-footer from Norcross, Georgia. Fittingly going to Norcross High School, representing Johan, the class of 2025. And due to my notes, I don't see if Johan has committed to a college yet. I will double check while we are waiting for this batter to return to the plate. And it seems like that Johan actually has committed. Let's try and do this live on the broadcast here. I saw a post on the Instagram. Committed as of 5 weeks ago to Emmanuel University. So a big congratulations to Johan Silveria. Emmanuel University for Johan. Very excited to see Johan in the college scene next year. However, here in the Sunbelt Baseball League, you get a taste of it. But it's a pretty big bite to chew. I mean, there's so many talented players in this league. And especially when your fifth place team is playing like this, only gets harder. However, you'll find strike one there. And if you were wondering as well why Ben Hoffman was taken out, well, Johan is indeed a grown man out there on the mound. I mean, look at the full beard and the power of this fastball coming down the line here. However, how about that changeup of a breaking ball and catches Xavier Wilson in a really tough spot to try and find a swing there. Next pitch from Johan will be ball two. Count goes to 2-2. Gainesville, however, have been in dire need of a well-performed at least start. You're still searching for your first out in this inning. Johan will look to provide it right here. 2-2 count. Down the barrel. Inside. How about full count? Worth reminding as well that Grayson Strobel still remains over at first. Big potential here for Xavier Wilson. A lot of power behind that bat, a lot of speed behind the pitch. Could go a lot of ways. Shrugging off the call there. Breaking ball will be low. Didn't like the call and try to go his own route, but unfortunately for Johan, that will be now a runner on first and second. And once again, we get to this nightmare type of scenario where we are now guaranteed to get back to the top of the zone or top of the lineup. Excuse me. Need to paint the top of the zone on someone like Nick McCord, though, who has really made you pay this game in many ways. And also the speed showcased in that 4-run inning is quite incredible. However, how about you go low and outside, Johan? That will be 0-1 to start. Two runners on. McCord has shown that he can get it done behind the plate and in front of it. Will make contact. This could be a double play ball. It's exactly what it will try to be, but McCord is too fast for the throw and does at least prevent the double play, but it will be 1 out as the trade-off. However, Silverio does get a first out before the bats get moving too quickly for this Monsters roster. However, of all the batters to come up with a new pitcher, Carson Perez, who had a 2-run nuke over to left field, will now return at the bottom of the lineup here in the 10th spot. Perez will look at the first pitch. Will take a stab out of that one over towards left field. Will it drop? It will drop in time, and so it will be a walking RBI. I say walking, but sprinting down the line for good measure. Runners go to first and second, makes it 12-1. And once again, Perez, who put him in the 10 hole? I mean, he's incredible thus far. Both hits go to left field on 2 separate pitchers, and you get 2 RBIs on 1 off the home run. Then you get an RBI here on the single. Incredible from Carson Perez, which now brings the lead to 11. So just like that, with only 1 out on the board, we go back to the top. We bring up Reese Jones. And again, of all the batters you want up with a new pitcher, you don't want to see Reese Jones. Breaking ball looked to be a potential moonshot, but stayed high. So we'll be ball 1 to kick off this count. Jones still looking for his first RBI in this game. What a field from Michael Fallon, as that ball came flying, but ended up right in the glove of the catcher. So Even though it was a great stop, count goes to 2-0. Again, Reese last game got involved, got on base on a walk on Monday night, but didn't find a hit. Has already broken that curse in the meantime, and a great eye for the zone will bring it to 3-0. Could get on base on a walk again. However, of all the speed and determination in a pitch, we've seen it from Silverio here, who needs to just barrel one down the zone here. Slow, and actually tags Reese Jones, and instead of an easy strike to get back in the count, it'll be a walking Reese Jones and bases loaded with Berkeley Perkins up to go. Not sure if I got to clarify this earlier, but we talked about Berkeley Perkins being a multi-sport athlete. State champion in football, played wide receiver. Was also offered for football. As that ball will find its way out, will there be a stealing runner? No, there will not be. Will be ball one in the meantime. Berkeley Perkins has not committed, though, to a school based on my notes from our friends who normally get the cast, the Chocolocco side. And for Berkeley Perkins was 2 for 3 last game. So again, multi-sport athlete and a uber talented and uber calm athlete as well. I mean, 4 state championships in football and playing wide receiver. Crazy nerves there, and will hold it as he watches that one hit the bottom side for 2-0. I will give Michael Fallon credit. Has done a great job to keep this ball in play, and even on the pass ball. Great run from Silverio to make sure the runner doesn't get in. Next pitch will be fouled off. Brings the count to 2-1 now. Next pitch, down the barrel and low. Brings the count to 3-1 now. Next pitch in from Silverio. Down the barrel, will be struck down the third base line. However, it will be foul after the runner on third will put a hand on it for good measure. It was already foul. So keep the gameplay moving. They're trying to get out of here tonight a little early. 3-1 with 1 out. Still in the second spot in this lineup. Perkins looking for a big play. Could find it right here. Will try and stab that one between shortstop and third. Will do exactly that. 2 RBIs are on sale, but we'll only get 1 in the meantime. We'll keep the bases loaded. He'll move the lead to 12. Thought for a second we were going to see Carson Perez barrel down third, but smart to stay back and just keep the bats flowing. I mean, you have no reason to move. A 7-run swing in the second, a 4-run inning in the fourth, and now a 2-run inning here in the fifth. Full trust in your lineup as we get to Jacob Brown here. Brown as well found a 2 RBI single earlier in this one. We'll try to replicate that down the third base line. Will be actually not fielded. It'll be down the line, and it'll be another 2 RBI double for Jacob Brown. Found a 2 RBI single earlier, now gets a 2 RBI double. Brings the lead to, yes, we are reading it correctly, 14. Thought for certain that it was going to be fielded by Chris Randolph, but the ball has continued to sweep between that third base and shortstop gap. I mean, Ryan Morris and Chris Randolph have gone through it tonight. Runner will jog back out to set up at second after throwing the gear off, and so Johan Silverio will try to give Gainesville a sliver of hope, but we're talking about another 4-run inning here. Could carry on here. Next pitch will be swung at. Once again, it's between third and short. Will be fielded this time around. Thrown over to first and will be played correctly. And will be an RBI, though, as a trade. It'll bring the game to 16-1. Two outs. Trying to get out of the game from hell for Gainesville. Up to the plate now is Akari Newton. That was Cannon Whitman with the sacrifice RBI. Swing is taken. However, will find its way off the side of the bat for 0-1. Again, you still got so much power in the lineup if you're the Monsters. I mean, your bottom side has performed so well that even though we're sitting here at the 5-hole with Newton, anyone could hit big at this point. That one will be outside. And I will say this as well, a very eager, excuse me, trying to figure out who's on second there. It's Jacob Brown on second, excuse me. Very eager to get moving. Count goes to 1-1. Silverio's next pitch, swung at and foul tipped. So Gainesville with a chance to get to the bottom of the 5th right here. One-two count. Silverio could end the nightmare and give Gainesville a chance to keep the game alive. It's going to be a tall task, but you could at least get it started right here, right now. Next pitch barrels down, will be swung at. That one was absolutely skyrocketed, but the breaking ball was slower than anticipated, and Newton gets out in front of it too early and will foul tip it, or foul moonball it, really, off towards the left side. So a reset for another 1-2 count. Newton once again position for a Silverio play will be a fastball, breaking ball, another breaking ball. That one is very, very softly tapped out. Found the middle of the bat, will go towards second baseman, and it is an easy force out. So even though the inning, I'm trying to find a silver lining, but unfortunately for Gainesville, another 4-run swing will bring it to 16-1. Now you've got one more bottom of the inning side to try and keep your dreams of staying alive at Reinhardt alive. We'll be right back. Bottom of the 5th, where we pick up. Gainesville trying to avoid a mercy of any kind, and immediately on the first pitch here, that is a huge strike out of that one. So the umpire will hand deliver the pitcher a new ball. It looked like it actually made contact with the catcher, excuse me. Will count as a foul ball, though, excuse me. Not a catcher interference. Give him a moment to get checked out. That is Jacob Brown, who's had a wonderful game so far tonight alongside his doppelganger, the other Jacob Brown, number 46 and 45. Seems like everything is A-okay, so we'll pick right back up. That's Chris Randolph at the plate, who will start down 0-1 after the foul tip. Foul tip of the ball and the catcher, unfortunately. However, next pitch from Nick McCord, who continues to be on a roll tonight, will find its way in and bring the count to 1-2. One more from Nick McCord inside, a little too far, and we'll bring an elbow up from Chris Randolph. Keep him honest here as we go to 2-2. Next pitch delivered from McCord will be low and inside, brings the count to full now. McCord, over 50 pitches already here in the top of the fifth. Could be showing signs of wear here, but not if there's a strikeout in the cards here. Breaking ball will catch Randolph swinging. It's strikeout number 8 for McCord, who's trying to call game early. Unbelievable top to bottom performance from the Monsters so far. I mean, again, we're talking about a Monday night game that was 8-7, where the Monsters had to go through 3 pitchers, as strike 1 will find its way in. Gainesville had to go through 4 pitchers. 7 pitchers total in that one, whereas here we've seen 5, and 4 of them have come from the Gainesville camp. McCord on a roll, 0-1 count, will be low for 1-1. This will be Baylor Holmesley, who actually, no, I take that back. This is not Baylor Holmesley, excuse me. So we'll clarify who that is at the dish in just a second. Not exactly sure who subbed in after the pitching changes. So mystery number 17 in the meantime. Try and keep Gainesville alive. Next pitch delivered will be foul tipped down. Keeps the count at 1-2. McCord almost eclipsing 60 pitches and might have to do so to get out of this inning. Most likely will try to keep that at bay. And oh my McCord, 9 strikeouts through 5 now. And one more out stands between mercy rule for the Monsters. Has officially eclipsed 60 pitches now for McCord. Next pitch, foul tip already. Up to bat for Gainesville, in case it wasn't stated, this is Chase Graham. Here at the 10 spot in the lineup, it is a quote-unquote nightmare scenario that is already built out of a nightmare scenario for Gainesville. Down 15 and here at the bottom of your lineup, but Chase will look to keep the Gol'Diggers in, but Nick McCord's got an agenda and is looking for 10 strikeouts in the span of 5 innings. Could do it right here, right now. Needs to get a few more strikes, though. How about strike 2 for 0-2? Nick McCord on for 10 strikeouts right here to try and call game. 0-2 count. Next pitch delivers outside for 1-2. Second baseman Chase Graham was 1 for 3 in Monday night's game. Got an RBI in that one. Also reached a base on balls, so has the eye for a long fight here with a pitcher who's well over 60. 60 pitches. Next pitch is delivered. That one will be swung at over to shortstop to try and call game. Will not be fielded successfully, though, and no throw, no contest, and you get a runner on. Needed that if you're Gainesville, because now you get to return to the top of your lineup and you get to your most dependable bat in Jock Walker. You saw the speed from Graham as well. Gainesville will need 5 runs, excuse me, to try and stay in this one alive. I believe they'd actually need to get to 9-run deficit, so I think they need 6, and a big chop out of the air for Jock Walker. Won't be the immediate heal for that. 64 pitches for McCord. I believe that was 65 to start this count off 0-1. Could get this game done in under 70. Next pitch delivers. Breaking ball will catch Jock swinging. Here we go again for McCord. 0-2, 2 outs to call game right here and now. 10 strikeouts on the line. Only 1 earned run the entire game. McCord's next pitch delivers. Will get to the bat of Jock Walker. Will keep the count at 0-2. Was a high pitch and almost caught Jock Walker slipping, but again, one of your more dependable bats for a reason, keeping you in this game alive. Count still remains at 0-2. Another one down the line for McCord. On to Walker. That one is piped out over second base. Will be fielded by the right fielder, and just like that, Gainesville, a little bit of a mini rally for the Hope. Runners on first and second. It'll bring Ryan Morris up now. Morris got 5 at-bats last game. Ended up going 1 for 5. Did contribute with a run in that game, but no RBI. First pitch in. Was thought about by Morris, but no action, so we'll watch strike 1 fade its way in the zone. Approaching 70 pitches now is McCord. The longer Gainesville can keep McCord going, the longer they can stay alive, especially if we're talking about bases loaded or maybe even a home run shot here. That ball goes outside. That will be ball 1. Next pitch windup for McCord. 1-1 count. Will find a barrel, another higher pitch. Will almost catch a batter swinging or slipping, whichever analogy you want to use. Either way, the count moves to 1-2. Once again, Nick McCord, after allowing 2 extra hits, still only 1 earned run given. Looking for a 10th strikeout to call a game. Breaking ball is high and doesn't fall enough. Count goes to 2-2. Setting back up on the mound. 2-2 count. You've got room to work. You've got creativity around the zone you can pull. However, again, McCord well over 70 pitches here. What's the next pitch delivery? Will catch him swinging, and that right there will be out number 3 here in the bottom of the 5th. Looking for confirmation on if that is the mercy rule or not. Seems like that answer is no. So we will go to a short break, as excuse me for my storylining. I guess I had actually misunderstood the rules. So 16-1 will now head its way to the top of the 6th when we get back from the break. All right, so a misunderstanding of the rules from my end. I do apologize. It is 10 through 7. That is the rule, not 10 through 5. So on that note, Chocolocco will still try to get this game done early, but Gainesville, if they have anything to say about it, they'll keep them at bay with 16. Strike one from Silverio, who gets to remain in the game. Again, Gainesville getting light on pitchers. Breaking ball. How about strike two, though? Johan is already 20. It should be 28 pitches now into this game, I do believe. Still under 30, that's for certain. So does have the ability to go these extra 2 innings and will find a looking strikeout. 3 straight strikes on to Jacob Brown. However, I don't think Jacob Brown will take that to heart. 4 RBIs this game as we find our way down towards Grayson Strobel. Next pitch. Absolutely piped. Bat flip. Is it out? Center fielder will track it down, and a little bit of preemptive celebration from Strobel. That'll be 2 outs in the span of 4 pitches for Silverio. Also, doing to clarify, I don't believe it was a bat flip. It just looked like one. It was a jogging player who realized that a ball was caught, and I think a lot of players are ready to go home at this rate with the way this game's going. But if anyone can control it, it is Gainesville. Next pitch from Silverio. Almost baits out a check swing, but will fade out of the zone and will go low in the turf for 1-0. This is Xavier Wilson here in the 8th spot once again. Will absolutely pipe that one over towards the left fielder, who will track it down, and just like that, you'll go 6 pitches and 3 outs of your Silverio, and the top of the 6th is done and dusted. We'll be right back with the bottom of the 6th in just a second. Bottom of the 6th, and to try and close this one out will be Carson Perez, who again had an absolute bomb earlier in this game, going out to left field, a 2 RBI home run, will now make an appearance on the mound, and the lefty will get to barrel down Mason Archie to start. First pitch catches Archie swinging. We'll go and start with 0-1. Second pitch delivery will go low. Brings it to what I believe is 2-1. Excuse me. Was trying to fix some broadcast things. I missed the second pitch. 2-1. Next pitch. Over towards second base. What a hop and what a read. Force out at first. Unbelievable from Berkeley Perkins. That ball took a hop and a half as well. But the quick reaction time after originally almost going down on a knee to field the ground ball, incredible from Berkeley Perkins. And now, just like that, that was Mason Archie. Now we get down to Michael Fallon here in the 4 spot of the Gainesville lineup. And it'll be strike 1 for Carson Perez. Next pitch, strike 2. Michael Fallon has struck out 2 times in this game already, looking to avoid a third. I will give an argument, though, for him on the last at bat. It caught the outside of the zone just barely and definitely had a right to be upset about the call there. 1-2 count now. Follow up. Will be stabbed at, will be foul, and first baseman Xavier Wilson can't track that one down as it will be out of play. So count remains at 1-2. I also do want to clarify, that is not Michael Fallon, actually. That is going to be a strikeout on Charlie Smith. So we get the 2 outs just like that. So Charlie Smith will go down, which brings up a familiar face in the 5 spot and Noah Darden, who will watch the first strike go by. You got to give credit to Carson Perez. This is a generational game from Perez. If Perez can get through the bottom of the 6th and the bottom of the 7th to close this game out. However, we'll leave that ball hanging and it will be punished. However, will be tracked by the center fielder. And to end the bottom of that inning, it's going to be Zachary Newton who tracks that one down. So just like that, we roll through the 6th, potentially only one more inning of play here as we'll return to the top of the 7th. Pitcher number 5 is in the game for Gainesville here in the top of the 7th. It'll be Parker Lindquist, who has had a few showcases this season, had a rough start to the season, a welcome to the league moment, if you will. But Lindquist, representing Forsyth Central High School, will try to do it justice. However, that will be a wide ball number 1 to start. Lindquist, again, representing Forsyth Central High School, and actually currently plays as a rising sophomore right here at Reinhardt University. Another high ball will be ball 2. We'll catch Nick McCord matrix dodging that one. Do want to add as well as another, here in the booth, I'm a fellow Forsyth Central alumni. Want to give Lindquist some credit as strike 1 finds its way in. In high school, Lindquist had quite the career. Held his opponents to a 200 opposing batting average with a 3 ERA. And will also bring the count back to 2-2. Here's a rising sophomore. It is still worth looking at his recruiting profile. As for Lindquist, has been praised for his late movement on his curveball. Talking about his changeup and his fastball windows being very similar coming out of the arm, and a very strong spin rate on his fastball. Lindquist also, as you can tell, stands at 6'4", and keeping the game at bay in the meantime. Count still stands at 2-2. As I also did not realize that our brightness from earlier was kind of making the stream look bad. So hopefully that looks better for everybody as the lights are bright. A little too bright here at Reinhardt. But as you can see, that sunset in the background is as beautiful as ever, like a Lindquist pitch to potentially strike him out. However, will not be beautiful enough. Will be 3-2 in the meantime. Again, after a miscommunication on my end, the mercy rule is 10 through 7. So that's what Lindquist is fighting to preserve here. Unfortunately for Lindquist, however, it will be ball 4 on a full count, and it will put a runner on first. That's a great eye from Nick McCord. As we'll bring our way down to the pitcher in Carson Perez. The pitcher who also hit a bomb 2 for 3 with a 2 RBI homer. Had 3 RBIs total. Had a single RBI off a single, I do believe. It's hard to keep track of all the hits when there's so many this game. We'll put that one in play. It's a big double play ball. Has to be turned on in time. Runner will get out of the way just to be safe. A little bit of a respect moment there at second base. And because of that, 2 outs will save Lindquist in the meantime. Again, I mentioned it's hard to keep track because if I'm remembering and looking at the score correctly, I believe we're looking at 20 hits. And, well, the sprinklers have come on in the meantime here at Reinhardt. So they will run and go fix that in the meantime. But I think maybe a little bit of refreshing add-on for the players. So Lindquist obviously not happy about that. And after getting a double play, I cannot blame him. So Reinhardt will get that fixed. We'll go to a very, very short break as they get those turned off. And we will be right back. So with the sprinklers off, we will get right back to the action after a wonderful double play set up by Lindquist. And also worth mentioning, a great fielding play from Chase Graham to swing that over to Ryan Morris, who then completed that with Evan Warren at first base. However, Lindquist will start with 2 quick balls. Similar to the first few games of the season, whenever we played at Georgia State, Lindquist also struggled in those with this breaking ball that seems to stay too high. And granted, Lindquist is 6'4", so to really bear down and find strike 1 right there, it's a lot harder than it looks. especially of all the players to pitch on. We're talking about Reese Jones here, back to the top of the lineup, as that'll be 3-1. But for Reese Jones, it's not like Reese Jones is a small player by any means, but Jones is 5'8". So I guess in baseball terms, somewhere in the middle. Next pitch outside. And just like that, 3-1 will turn into 4-1, ball four. Still 2 outs on, but a runner now moves to first. Reese Jones will continue a wonderful, disciplined series, getting on first base off the walk. Brings Berkeley Perkins back up to the plate. Try and keep the rally that has lasted 7 innings going for the Monsters. And maybe not even a rally at that point. It's just been a masterclass. Ball will get away from the catcher, but is corralled in time. Will be ball 1 in the meantime. Lindquist will get settled out on the mound, tossing the bag just a little bit. Next pitch from the 6'4 pitcher. High and outside. 2-0 count now. Lindquist to try and keep the count alive has battled back already this half inning. Breaking ball inside and catches top of the zone for strike 1. Next pitch delivery. That one doesn't catch the zone, doesn't fall enough. We'll bring it to another 3-1 count. Lindquist trying to get these bats up and running. If Gainesville want to try and push this game to 9 innings, they will have to find 6 runs in the bottom of the 7th. Lindquist try and keep it possible will find it in the dirt. And that right there will be now 2 runners on with 2 outs. As that'll bring up a familiar face in Jacob Brown, who's got 4 RBIs so far this game, will return to the plate. Lindquist won't worry about the batter. Will bear down for his first pitch. Will be swung at, and you will take it for an 0-1 count to start. It's been quite the half inning so far, and even with a 7-run second inning, we saw sprinklers come on after a double play after allowing a runner to get on. It's been one of the wildest games I've been fortunate enough to cast this season. Next pitch from Lindquist is skyrocketed out towards center field. Should be tracked down for out number 3, and it will be fielded in exactly as so. So just like that, Gainesville will look to avoid mercy in the bottom of the 7th when we come back from the break. Here we go. Bottom of the 7th. Gainesville have a simple task on paper, but a hard task in any other fashion. Have to score 6 runs to force us to go the full distance of this game. First pitch from Perez will be fouled off. At the plate will be Dallas Stevens. We're sitting at the 6th spot in the lineup. So just like the bottom of the 5th, Gainesville not in a uber fortunate spot, trying to get out of this game alive and get a run going, but Dallas Stevens could put things on the right line. However, we'll watch that ball go outside. We'll keep it at 1-1. Next pitch, swung at and missed for 1-2. Stevens looking to stay alive. The lefty on the righty will catch him swinging, and Perez will find out number 1 of 3 to end the game early. So we'll go lefty on lefty next to start. It'll be Evan Warren, the first baseman. Again, one of the more powerful builds on this roster and has absolutely showcased that this season. But, however, we'll watch the first one. I say watch, I mean foul tip the first one. It's been a long night. Please do forgive me. Hard to cast a game like this because all the storylines go out the window after we got an absolute barn burner on Monday night. Again, it came down to the wire. It came down to the 8th inning, and it was 8-7. Then all of a sudden, it's 7-1 through 3, and then it's 16-1 through 5. Count after an Evan Warren hit the first won't matter, and just like that, like I mentioned, you get a powerful bat, lefty on lefty. You bring it down the line. Unfortunately for Xavier Wilson, the first baseman can't get to that one, and Evan Warren will find his way on base. So that'll now call on Chris Randolph, who, again, on that left side, the third baseman and his shortstop fellow and Ryan Morris have been getting pelted by hits tonight from all of these righties. On the Monsters' end, we'll look to contribute on the offensive end. We'll go lefty on lefty once again. First pitch delivery. Low and in the turf, will get away from the catcher, but only temporarily, as the count will move to a 1-0 and not a whole lot else sacrificed. Next pitch down the line for Perez. Absolutely placed inside. 1-1. One delivery. Catches the outside of the plate for 1-2. It's 2 strikes in a row now for Perez. I believe Perez has found 3 strikeouts as well through the 6th inning and now the 7th. Could look for number 4 right here. Tried to place it in the exact same spot. It was close, but will be 2-2. Randolph has struck out twice this game. Trying to avoid another one. Will put it in play. Can the shortstop get there in time? Will running throw from the side. Will pocket it for out number 2. However, runner will advance to second in the meantime. The righty will come up. I believe this was originally Baylor Holmesley, but please do forgive me as we are not sure who that is right now. We'll watch ball 1 go by. Evan Warren gets a very late jump out of it, but the catcher did not get moving in time, so Warren will move on to third. I will try and very quickly double check who is number 17 for this Gainesville roster, which has seen a lot of changes. So again, please do forgive me for not knowing. This is Dawson Vaughn, actually, who's hitting in this spot. Holmesley never subbed in for Vaughn, so please excuse me for thinking so. We'll put it in play. Can the first baseman get there in time? We'll have to throw it to the pitcher, who will get to walk on first and has to backhand it. Will retain it, will get to first base, and that will be out number 3. And that right there, based on the rules, it is 10 through 7 is mercy, 15 through 7 is what the Monsters did tonight in what was a generational game, top to bottom. Let's talk about, first off, Nick McCord goes through 5 innings basically flawless, only allowing 1 run, 9 strikeouts, and then you bring in Perez, who absolutely slammed a home run over the left wall, which is a taller wall, by the way, on this field, slams one over, comes into pitch, I believe grabs 3 strikeouts in the span of just 2 innings. Unbelievable from the Monsters, and I don't know what much more you can add for Gainesville. Their record will move to 2-17. As for Choccolocco, excuse me, they'll move to 9-10. They'll move to 4-6 on the road, as well as they will try to claim the 4th spot in the league. They are in a great spot to do so, but I believe they'll be playing that 4 or 5 seed team regardless of where they stand. So on that note, that's all we got here from Reinhardt University. We are very, very thankful for their support this season, this field, this facility, the box. It is beautiful. Big shout out to Jake, the commissioner of the Sunbelt Baseball League. Even bigger shout out here tonight to our TrackMan operators and, of course, our scorekeepers as well. My name has been TJ Stevens. It has been a game to forget for Gainesville, but a game of cinema for Choccolocco Monsters. So once again, my name is TJ Stevens. Have a blessed night, and we will see you soon.